509.
We are on the air. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the radio. The radio, the TV that allows you to form images in your head. Nice, suggestive radio. Radio is the magic box that lets everyone be who they want to be.
For everyone who wants to hear it, Radio 509.
Radio 509.
Radio 509, coming to you 24/7 for almost 7 years now in 4.5 million homes.
Met programma's die gemaakt worden
with shows made by true sound specialists, show producers who know better than anyone else how to communicate efficiently with sound. That's right. Without exception, all Radio 509 staff members have exceptionally trained hearing, as they see little to nothing. On the radio, Radio 509, it's all about sound. So in the studio, visual impairments disappear. Michael Bublé on Radio 509 in 509 Live.
Met het feit dat ik gewoon een keer...
And I'd like to compliment myself on finishing right on time just this once. Yes.
Inmiddels...
It is now 7:01.
Bij Radio 509.
At Radio 509, we emphasize our staff's talents. Efficiently communicating with audio.
Energy.
Nou,
die heb ik
No, I don't really have any. So, do you really mean that... Oh, I wasn't done yet.
Radio 509 broadcasts theme shows for people with a visual impairment. That goes without saying, but mostly Radio 509 is there for anyone who wants to hear it.
I can still see the horrible, empty, ominous platform.
Het is hier onheilspellend.
It's eerily quiet here. I'm standing here on this platform, right by that suspicious package.
De robot van de...
The bomb disposal unit's robot is now next to the package, and even the robot doesn't dare touch it. Now that's saying something. That means it's very dangerous. Meanwhile, everything within a 300-meter radius has been cleared. It's a huge operation. 5,000 people have been bused to another location, and this threat is being taken very seriously.
Ja, dat is ook niet verwonderlijk, want het...
This isn't surprising, as the package really is very suspicious. In huge letters, the package reads, bomb.
Dat schrijf je natuurlijk.
And you don't just write that for no reason at all. So it is a serious...
Ik krijg nu...
I'm just getting a signal that I too... Oh, I must also leave this platform. This is... Well, you'll be hearing from me again later. I'll be right back.
Radio 509 is...
Radio 509 has been on the air non-stop since it started in the 5th month of the year 09.
Continu.
May 12th, 2009. It follows in the footsteps of Insight Radio in the United Kingdom. Insight Radio has studios in London and Dublin, and the main studio is in Glasgow. Insight Radio is run entirely by the Royal National Institute for the Blind, RNIB.
Take that on RNIB's Insight Radio with Say It All. You're listening to The Daily Lunch with Jill and Linda. We've got loads coming up on the show today, so please do stick around with us if you can. We're going to be taking a look at Prima magazine very, very shortly.
Today, we're guests at Insight Radio.
Here in Glasgow, and what a very special experience this is.
So inspiring. It's a radio station made by and for the blind and partially sighted. And it's all music to our ears. Right, Emile?
Ja, sowieso 12 mensen.
Absolutely. 12 people are working here full-time, making very nice radio shows.
Daaromheen ook nog allerlei mensen die vrijwillig...
In addition, they are helped by volunteers and others who are paid with government funds to help with these shows.
Om te helpen bij die programma's. Dus, en het ziet
It all looks very professional.
You're listening to The Daily Lunch. The news at 2 is on the way. But stay with us. Coming up, we'll be taking a look at lovefood.com and we'll be taking a look at the current issue of Heat magazine. Taking us up to the news, though, it's Michael Jackson.
It's been really important for RNIB to invest in a radio station because, as you would imagine, if you're blind or partially sighted, audio makes the most amount of sense. And one of the things that RNIB have heard from blind and partially sighted people over the years is that it's so difficult when people first lose their sight to know where to get information. The RNIB came up with an idea about 10, 12 years ago of having a radio station as a kind of one-stop shop where people can get a load of information about living with sight loss and get that information in one place, and from there can then pick out the services that they need.
Het leuke is, als ze programma's maken...
It's nice. Their shows include regular news and everyday stuff, but they do it from the perspective of the blind and partially sighted. Like what's in the news? And what does this mean for the blind and partially sighted? Laws, sports or something else, but it's from the perspective of visual impairment. But it's really fun to listen to for everyone, including the sighted.
Certainly. We've spoken with several people today, and all of them have their own story about why the radio is so important to them.
En waarom het ook belangrijk is dat...
And why it is important to have Insight Radio. In this case, for all of England, Scotland and Ireland.
Het verbindt mensen.
It connects people. They feel like they belong somehow. You can tell that the people who work here are very passionate about what they do.
Well, I lost my sight completely at the age of 19 due to diabetic retinopathy. My sight went it was in the space of 2 weeks. And it was maybe a few months into being blind when I discovered that I wasn't going to see again, that I was kind of looking for things to do, because I'd been an air hostess. Obviously I couldn't do that anymore, and I was kind of thinking, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I'd seen an advert on the television for the hospital radio in Dublin. I was living in Ireland at the time. So I'd seen an advert. They were looking for radio presenters to volunteer. So I went along to the training and I just loved it. I just fell in love with it immediately. I'd always loved radio. I'd heard about Insight Radio. And at first I thought, a radio station for blind people. I didn't really understand the concept, because I thought anybody can listen to radio, whether they're blind or sighted. Surely that's the whole point of radio. But it wasn't until I actually came here, it was in its very, very initial kind of set-up stages, that I realised just what an important tool it was, what an important medium it was for blind people. And yeah, I've been here 12 years now. Love it.
Meanwhile, in Hilversum, the Radio 509 broadcast continues. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Radio 509, for anyone who wants to hear it.
So it's really important to have a radio station despite all the other digital solutions that there are now in the world, like the internet, because radio is very intimate. And for many people who live with sight loss, they're often excluded from society, they can be quite isolated from society, and to have a warm voice on the radio that people begin to feel like is a friend.
Well, listen, thank you so much for taking us through that, Linda. Some great tips there. And if you've got any tips at home, do get in touch with us. You can tweet us at Insight Radio. And remember, all our contact details are on our website, insightradio.co.uk.
We'll be passing by and they'll be...
At Insight Radio, we work with both volunteers and paid members of staff. So we're very grateful to our volunteers. They're a fantastic bunch. They come in at weird and wonderful hours of the day and help with our broadcasting. But it's also really important that we have paid members of staff, and we have 12 at Insight Radio. And the reason that is so important is that we want to provide as high a quality of broadcast service as we possibly can to our blind and partially sighted audience. Without paid staff, we can't maintain that level of quality. And it's really important that this radio station is a beacon for what blind people can do, not what they can't do. So we want to provide really, really high levels of broadcast material to people, and we want it to mimic the likes of the BBC. We want to be up there with the big players. That's why it's so important to have paid staff who are coming in, who are working to those professional standards every day.
I myself have been with the radio for a long time. I was 12 when I joined the radio. Made for Us, Burned by Us, a children's show in which we burned or praised things that adults had thought up for us. But we were positive even then.
En bij de radio werkte toen...
And at the time, only very ugly people worked in radio. I was the only one who looked a little presentable. At least that's what the doorwoman told me. She had to look somewhat presentable herself, of course. Well, in 1977, I was 12 and I was GBJ Hilterman's successor. I shared my views on the state of the world. The very unstable situation in the Middle East due to the ongoing Pan-Arabian fight raging in the streets of Hormuz. Good afternoon, by the way, dear listeners. Stuff like that.
So, of course, for RNIB, Insight Radio costs money to run. However, it is a fantastic thing for them to invest in, and they have been very supportive right the way from the beginning when the idea was first suggested. I think because RNIB realised just the benefits from being able to reach as wide an audience as possible. We reach 134,000 people every week.
Net als de collega.
Just like Insight Radio, Radio 509 is a radio station that connects people, especially for live broadcasts from the mobile radio studio, which can be deployed all over the Netherlands.
Die in heel Nederland kan worden ingezet.
You're still listening live to the Zizo Fair in Houten. Radio 509 is located on the Catering Square. And right now we have Yvonne on the Radio 509 microphone.
Uit onderzoek blijkt dat...
Research shows that Radio 509 reaches over 100,000 listeners a week.
Daardoor leent Radio 509 zich bij uit.
This makes Radio 509 an excellent medium for highlighting services and products to a growing group of loyal listeners, who not only have their radio on, but who really listen as well.
Well, radio hasn't been limited to broadcast for a long time. Radio is also internet. Radio is on demand. So you don't always have to get ready at a certain time to listen to something, even though that is very nice. It was fun sitting in front of the radio all together, but nowadays you have other options. You can listen to that radio whenever you want. So something isn't just gone once it's been broadcast, it's around forever. As long as people keep talking, there's radio. And radio on the radio. Everyone's blind.
Radio 509